Hello, everyone. It's day 3 of the summit, and it feels so much like home. I'm so excited that we've been able to cultivate a very safe space for Black women around the world, a very honest space where we can really lay our burdens down and say that's no longer mine, right? And smack dab in the middle of the summit, I am so happy to have Dr. Kristian here with us. I will let her talk about all of the incredible things that make her magnificent, but I truly am grateful that it is her that we get to talk about this concept of reimagining the gravity of no. I have chills as I say it because that word has so many connotations, but we need to add a little bit more on there. So without further ado, Dr. Kristian, again, I'm just thrilled that we're having this conversation today to hear your perspective on these things, reimagining the gravity of no. I do believe, after following your brand, even before I got to speak to you for this event, that it has to be your experiences and your training and your influences that have wrapped up and culminated to usher you into the season that you're in today. So please do share your story with us and how your experiences have come together to bridge you to where you are today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I'm getting chills in the moment, the space that you're creating for Black women to be vulnerable, to be themselves, to invest in themselves. I'm just so excited to be a part of the conversation and try to help lead us in that way any way that I can.
Thank you. I'm happy that you are here. So yeah, what would you share about your background, even your training, maybe some unexpected experiences that helped you to, launch your business or who, the things that have shaped, right, who you are from inside out?
Okay, that's a question. How much time do we have? It's taking me an hour to go through what made you who you are. But I can start at the top. I'm the founder of Black and Green. So Black and Green is an e-commerce marketplace where we source all natural, non-toxic products created by Black women. So there are a couple of things here. My background's in public health. I read an article that the products marketed to Black people are more toxic than the products marketed to everyone else. I thought that was absurd. And so I went on a journey to buy as many natural, non-toxic products as possible for myself. I was looking up every ingredient, trying to check the environmental working group, trying to see how toxic those ingredients were. I was spending a lot of time doing this. About 6 months into my journey of trying to buy all natural and clean, I read the book Our Black Year by Maggie Anderson. And in that book, she talked about the power of your dollar, how you can be an intentional consumer and make sure that you're consuming things that align with your values. I said, ooh. So I'm in my head, okay, what do you care about? What do you want to do with your money? And how can you make your purchasing align with that? I said, okay, I care about Black women. I care about Black women businesses, and I would love to support their brands. I'm not a big banker. I don't have millions of dollars, but I buy deodorant. I buy shampoo, I buy conditioner, I buy body butter. What if I can buy those non-toxic products from Black women? I can help their businesses grow and thrive. And so I went back to my list of all natural, non-toxic products. And I said, okay, now I want them to be all Black owned. So I was scratching some off and adding more to it. And I had this long list of products I was buying, and I was complaining. I was complaining to my husband and said, man, this takes so much work. I got to order from all these different places. Some stuff work, some stuff don't work. I said, this is a lot of work. I wish there was a place where everything was Black and green so I could just go out and buy it. And that's the way Black and Green got started. And people often ask me, oh, why didn't you create your own product? I said, because that's not my specialty. I don't know everything I need to know about skincare. I don't know everything I need to know about hair. That's not what I do. But what I can do is I can create a space where people, women who are already doing this, can push their products forward. And so that's what I chose to do instead. I spent my time, my energy, my education, my background to create a space to help promote and push Black-owned, women-owned, non-toxic brands forward into the forefront. So that's kind of the work I've done with Black and Green.
That in and of itself is so transformational, right? I think women hearing that is so transformational because a lot of times we feel bad about the fact that we're saying this is too hard, right? I don't want to have to go through all of this work. And because you leaned into that fact, it was a fact, right? It was hard. It still is hard. We're still very fragmented in the world. Because you leaned into it, you made a solution that everybody needs, period, right?
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. I love that. And just curious, especially for those who may be considering, making things that add ease to people's lives. Are you a technical founder? Like, do you know how to code and build websites, et cetera? Love that.
Not at all. That is not my background at all. My background is public health. I was a public health professor. That's what I do. Like I could educate and think about policies, and that's what my kind of magic sweet spot is. Yep. The tech stuff, not so much.
Yep, and y'all are still fire. I mean, fire. Go check them out now. I'm gassing on purpose, but I'm telling y'all, go check it out. So, I'm excited about this conversation because these elements, right? You not being a technical founder, you not building apps and websites, et cetera. It did not stop you from pointing to the people who know how to get things done, from the deodorant makers to the website person, et cetera, right? And building something beautiful. So zeroing in on the word no, right? We know that it holds a lot of weight in our minds, but personally, right? If we each think about what the word no typically means for us and the emotions that come up, right? Many times it's a negative association. So I want us to talk about Black people particularly right now, right? I believe that we have a heavier burden than our counterparts, right? Because we don't want to let people down, right? We know we have to work twice as hard to get in spaces that weren't designed for us and all of these things. But can you pack for us what you believe some of these fears to be? Like if you had to name them and go down the list and make people feel seen, what do you think are some of the fears associated with the word no? And where do you think this difficulty stems from?
Oh, I can go a lot of different directions to that. The first thing that's coming up for me is that when you say the word no, when a Black woman says the word no, depending on who she's saying it to, what you're saying is I assert that what I think, what I believe, the direction I want to go in is different and better than what you're selling to me. And as a Black woman, we oftentimes don't feel comfortable being in that space, saying no to those around us, because we don't want to show that we're better than you, or we disagree with you, or that I think the way I'm processing this is the direction I want to go in, and not the way that you're processing it. And oftentimes Black women don't feel strong enough to stand on their own 2 feet and say, I'm going to process this and deal with it my way, different than your way. Your way might be just fine for you, but that's not the way I want to do it. So I can think of the very first time I said no in Black and Green. When I started Black and Green, I was very intentional that I wanted to create a space for Black women. I got a lot of pushback. Are you sure you don't want to make it people of color? I said what I said. I wanted it for Black women. They're like, well, what about Black men? I said, I want for Black women. And so I had a lot of pushback, and someone came to me and said, you're going to be really hard for you to get investors if you do that way. I said, who said I wanted investors? I'm not looking for investors. That's not why I'm in the business to do this. I'm not trying to make all this money. I'm trying to serve Black women, and I don't need investors to do that. Black women got me. And I think that was the very first time I said no, and I'm happy I said no.
I see you, I feel you. I was so shocked, Dr. Kristian, when I started building Blaze at the end of 2020 in the thick of a pandemic, right? And I had so many people, especially Black men, saying to me, why would you do that? Why would you limit yourself? Black women aren't gonna be as vocal as we are. Like, we need help, and Black women gonna be jealousy. I mean, all of these projections that were not part of my experience. Like you mentioned, Black women show up for me. They always have,
And the thing about it is the way that the environment, society works. When I give freely from my heart, Black women give freely back to me.
Period.
When I give positive energy, positive joy, all that comes right on back to me.
Period.
And so I don't know why this narrative has been created that Black women bitter and they fight and they I don't know. That's not my reality. I don't know whose reality that is. And then a part of me feels like, and I don't know, part of me feels like Black men are making up this to keep us fighting, but I don't know. But someone is making this up because it's not my reality.
I say, like we are perpetuating stories that the oppressor tell us about, yep. Right? Like we are perpetuating the mammy stories. We're perpetuating these, fetishizing our bodies as if we can't be sexy and not feel self-conscious about it, right? Like we're perpetuating stories of Black men are scared, Yep. So yeah, like trailblazers like you, sis, right? Like we are the people who are giving stages, right, to Black women to tell their own stories, period, right? So I think that is powerful. I remember after we did the very first summit, right, we won literally winter of 2021. Okay, we like 12 months in the game. Won a Webby distinction for Webby Awards honoree for best in business and finance, and a non-Black woman came to me and said, I mean, this is so great, but I believe that this should be for women of color because the information is too good not to share with other people. And I had to break down, I didn't have to, but I decided to break down to her, okay, sis, well, you didn't care that Black women start 42% of all new businesses created by women every single day. You didn't care then about us, right? You didn't care whether we got good information or not then, right? You don't care that 0.64% of us get venture capital. You literally didn't care. It's not until something great happens for us that you feel entitled to that. Nah, sis, I don't have nothing to do with that. Go over to all the people that are giving you dope game because very few of us are doing this over here, and don't come back to me again and ever say it again. I ain't repeating myself, right? Like you speaking up about Black women now, and the sentence is, let us have some too, girl, please. But okay, I just felt that completely.
But honestly, I'll receive that as like, that's how amazing of a job that you're doing. That you created something so dope that they're trying to get it. That speaks to the power of what you've done.
Yeah, they've never felt boxed out. Mind you, this was a speaker though. She spoke to Black women, right? And then it's just like, but dang, I felt bad that it wasn't me out there. No. Like, how about you actually do something, right? Like I'm doing, right? Like create space for us so that we can have a piece of the pie.
Absolutely.
But anyway, super dope. So, I want us to start, defining what this reimagination would be of the word no, right? Because it's important that we reclaim our power like you're doing, like I'm doing, right? Without permission, and really start imagining the good that can come from the word no, the comfort that can come from the word no, right? So, Dr. Kristian, what would you say are some of the ways in which the word no has already added liberation in your life and peace in your life and joy in your life?
Yes. So before I got to the point where I can say no, I had to take a step back and figure out, what do I want? What brings me joy? What makes me happy? It's hard to get happy if you don't know what brings you there. You bounce like this, if you don't really know what it is. But once I knew what makes me happy, what brings me joy, then saying no was a little bit easier, because in my brain, you're not going to distract me from my path. So anything or anyone that distracts me from that, I'm going to say no to. So I can give you an example. I know working out is a part of my path to getting happy. Whenever I'm feeling down, whenever I'm not feeling good, I run to the gym. I know that is something that works for me. All right, you aren't feeling good, just go to the gym and say about 30 minutes. You don't need a long time, just 30 minutes, just work it through, or just in your brain. I know yoga does that for me. Just give me an hour to lay back and clear my thoughts. I know these things are important for me. I had a really good friend of mine who wanted me to do a session for her. We have been trying to find a session. And I said, okay, I'll give up my yoga for you. Then I started thinking about it. I said, Kristen, don't give up your yoga. Yoga is important to you. Me, who didn't know herself well, would have been trying to please my friend. And so let me just do what she needs, because I want to please her. I want to help her get what she needs. And I would have put myself in the back burner. But the new me that understand that I can love myself and I can take care of myself. And there's power in the word no. I texted her. I said, hey, I really can't miss yoga. We have to find another time. She said, no problem. Let's find another time. It was easy. I was like, okay. So she wasn't mad. I did it. And I was happy because I stood up for myself. So I think those little moments when I say no, I realize it works out. And I was, oh, she's gonna be mad that I didn't do this. Oh, I was telling myself this whole narrative about the potential negative of it, but it ended up being just fine and perfectly. And I got what I needed and she got what she needed.
That's so good, because I think it's important for us to make peace with the fact that the word no does mean that you are denying somebody of something, right? And at times yourself even, right? But to be comfortable with that, right? And to also look at what is being gained. A lot of times society pushes on us anything for money, right? Anything for clout, anything for notoriety, etc. And we die early deaths. We have horrible health, experiences. Our mental health is shot, right? And yeah, I think we have to get very, very comfortable with this notion of, deprioritizing other people's desires so that we can prioritize ours better. And that's right. That's teaching our family how to love us and how to protect us and how to show up for us. It's teaching our jobs what to expect from us and to stop having them think that we are the mules who are going to go beyond human capacity to get it done. Right.
But that first question is teach them. In order to teach them is you have to know. If you don't know, you're going to just get pulled in direct. Okay, they asked me. Okay, they asked me. Okay, I'll do. Okay. Because you don't know what you need. Once you take a step back, like, what do I need? I need my 10 hours of sleep. So when someone asks me, well, 10 is a bit much. I need my 8 hours of sleep. So when someone asks me to come to something that's at midnight, no, my bedtime's at 10. I'm sorry. That's not going to work. And so you have to know yourself well enough to know when you can say no. If you don't know yourself well enough, you're going to be pulled. You're constantly going to get pulled because you don't know when you should say no, because you don't know what you need. So the first step is you have to figure out what you need. Write down all the things that bring you joy, all the things that make you happy. And you try to structure your life in a way they're doing more of those things as possible. At the end of the day, we're all going to die. I became very intimately close to death. In 2019, July 1st, 2019, I was in a car accident, a life-threatening car accident. A car hit us, our airbags didn't deploy. I was immediately unconscious. I got airlifted to the hospital. I was in a coma for about 30 days. The neurosurgeon told my parents I had one of the most traumatic brain injuries that they had ever seen. They warned my parents and my family that I may be a vegetable. I may never move again. I may never talk again. Who they knew, I may never be her again. So they prepared them for that. But me and God had another plan. So I strive, I worked hard to get back to the point where I can walk and I can talk and I can drive again. I can do all these things again that they didn't think that I could do. But I came back in this world with a different perspective on life, is that I know I'm going to die. I became very intimately close to dying. Actually, when I was in a coma, I met my grandmother who had never met in this world. I met her, my dad's mother, and she looked at me and she said, baby, now's not your time. I said, okay, granny, now's not my time. So I had this newfound focus. I want to know, what am I supposed to do on this earth? Because we're not going to always be here. We have a limited amount of time. And I want to make sure that my time here, I'm investing in the people around me. I'm making the world a better place. And I want to make sure, and the power of no allows me to do that. Because I was saying yes way more than I should have. But I'm getting so much better at saying no now. I can serve those around me better when I'm saying no.
That is powerful. I just want to pause for a beat to absorb what you just said, right? Like, unconscious for a month. Y'all in the chat, write whatever you are feeling like. Let this process this, right? Feel this. So many times we are just accustomed to burying our thoughts and our feelings so that we continue being productive. But I know I'm not the only one listening that has often wondered about death, right? And have often felt nervous about running out of time, right? But feeling hopeless because I thought I had to do everything else everybody wanted me to do and try to find a piece of enjoyment at the end of my life, right? Knowing that I was breaking my body down, but I thought I had to give, like Dr. Kristian saying, yes, it's to everybody else to be worthy of a vacation, to be worthy of time off, to be worthy of a mental day, right? Knowing I was killing myself, right? And what you are saying, woo, is powerful because you are visibly showing a generation who won't have to do what we did, right? All we knew was what our mamas did, you know, and Black people in the corporate America, right? But you are visibly showing people that I choose how I spend my days. And the closer I get to death, I'm happy every day because I chose. I hold it with both hands every day what I want to do, you know?
Exactly. I think it's so incredible. A couple of years ago, before I started buying green, so it might have been in 2016, I made a post on Facebook. I said, I want a life I do not need a vacation from. And I had to do a lot of thinking about what that meant. I said, well, Kristen, why do you enjoy vacations? What about vacations do you enjoy? Oh, you like the freedom of your time that you can do whatever you want. You like that you're trying new foods. You like that you're meeting new people. You like that you're going to new places and doing new things. Okay, structure your life that way. Go eat at a new restaurant often. Go to places with new people often. Go to museums in your hometown. All the things that you're doing on vacation, do them every day. Don't wait to do them on vacation.
That's good. You know, I can honestly say, you know, that's how I feel every day, Dr. Kristian. Like I have in the last, I think, year, right? I just have a very fresh relationship with this word death, with this concept death. Like I don't fear it, like because I have truly unapologetically constructed a life that feels like a vacation every single day. Like every single day, like I know every day I'm doing exactly what I want to do, and there's space for me to evolve. Like there is space for me to be mentally challenged on days and just rest because that feels good, or space for me to explore the world because I want to be poured into and I don't want to pour out in certain seasons, you know? And I do that. So I love that. And I think I've already seen it, right? Even in my business, like very smart girls from college that I mentor. I mean, smart, magna cum laude, summa cum laude. They get to graduation day and they're like, yeah, like I could go, you know, work for McKinsey and I could go for, you know, whoever, but I want to work for Blake. That's powerful, right? Because it's like they realize, they keenly understand that they don't have to do this stuff that feels painful. They don't have to kill themselves, you know? So I want to pose another question to you. You know, when we think about us pushing the bounds further than we saw, right? And creating space for ourselves, right? I think that we are inspiring the next generation to go even further, right? It inevitably happens, right? So what do you think that, you know, our notions of saying no to dad, what opportunities, what lifestyles, et cetera, do you think we're opening up for generations to come after us?
I love this question. So what I say with, I'm a mom now of a 1-year-old and 3-year-old. And often the feedback I give people is being a mom forces you to have your stuff together in a way that you don't understand it until you have it. Because you have two little humans who are watching everything you do and absorbing it all, that you're shaping the way that they see things, the way they engage with things. When I'm upset, when I'm mad at something, I say, ooh, my son's watching how I act now. Kristen, be careful. Kristen, let's think this through. Okay, so they're forcing me to make sure I show up and behave in a way So I want them to behave in a certain way when they get upset. I want them to behave in a certain way when they don't get what they want. So, or the only way that they can do that is if I model that same behavior. So when I think about what we're doing for those coming up behind us, I think we are trying to show them that we can model our best behavior and show up in the world in a certain way. And so by me being able to act in a certain way and get the things that I want, I'm showing them they can do the exact same thing. So I think that's kind of where my brain is going. My brain is kind of this freedom I want them to experience, this freedom that I don't want them to have certain desires and certain choices to get something else done. Well, I want to look this way. I want to do this thing. I want to seem professional. I want to seem da. So I have to do all these things. No, release all that. What brings you joy? What makes you happy? What makes you feel the most free? And try to set up your life in a way that magnifies those things. In order for my boys to do that, that means I have to do that. I need to model my life in a way that is maximizing my joy, not my happiness. Because let's see, if I'm constantly complaining about not liking work and not liking what I'm doing, that's what he sees all the time. Well, mommy did a job she didn't like, so I guess I should go get a job I don't like too, because that's what he sees. But what he sees is, oh, mommy doing her black and green stuff. Mommy loves doing her black and green stuff. Oh, I want to start something like mommy started. That's what he sees. So that's what I think I'm trying to do with my boys, is model what joy looks like. I don't think Black people know what joy is. We're so used to struggling. We're so used to fighting. And honestly, some of us feel guilty when we have joy. We feel guilty when we're happy because we know all this mess exists around us. But I'm saying, in that mess, you can have joy. In that mess, you can be happy. And so I want us to figure out a way to be joyful and teach those coming around us it's okay to be joyful. Don't be fearful of being happy. Don't be fearful. Don't be scared. Don't be intimidated. Don't feel like it's wrong to have joy.
That's so good, because it really does push past the bounds of today, right? Like, you're not saying that you don't want to complain in front of your boys. You're saying, I don't want to have things to complain about. Oh, that's different.
Yep.
That's different.
Yep.
Right? Because we learned respectability politics. We learned to go into these spaces that feel horrible and hold our head up and don't ever complain. Don't let them see you sweat, right? Like, that's front, and we learned how to front, right? And so our lives, like you mentioned, is filled with pain, right? Asphyxiation, where we can barely breathe every day, right? But you've chosen, that's deep. You've chosen the life that you love, so that your boys know freedom. And we haven't known freedom, right? Like, we haven't known freedom.
This is so funny. Me and my husband went out to eat. It was about a couple of months ago. And these little white kids are just running around freely, getting into stuff, getting all up underneath things. They parents ain't saying nothing to them. I said, little Black boys running around doing that. Sit down, come here, Kenny, sit down, put your legs up, cross your legs. They got all this correction. These little white boys was jumping around, shaking and circling. And I told my husband, said, those little white boys have a freedom that Black kids cannot have. He said, because they can't. He said, they can't have that kind of freedom. I said, but I want my boys to have that freedom at home. If they can't have it in public, I want my boys to have that freedom at home.
That's good, and I say, probably not even often enough, safe spaces over everything, right? Like, I understand why our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents taught us to be so controlled, because it was truly a matter of life or death, right? And today,
murdered. Black men killed by police. I get it. I understand why we need respectability politics. That made us survive. That's how we survived.
Period.
I understand why they exist the way they exist, but I want to create an environment where they can be free. I understand the history of America that has Black folks living in this fear. This speak what it is. We're living in this fear that at any moment we can be murdered, or we can get something that we deserve taken away from us. We're constantly living in a space of fear. It's hard to be free when you're fearful. So I want to create an environment where my boys feel free in, which might not be possible, but that ain't gonna stop me from trying.
And it is, right? Like I think, and this is my theory, and this why I live it is why I live my life, not why, but it's why I'm very visible about the way I live my life. And literally bouncing out of the States, right? A couple of months after I quit my 9-to-5, because I wanted to put skin in the game to show myself I was as limitless as I felt. And I knew my story would be the first story like mine that most Black women had ever seen up until that point, right? And literally being a digital nomad and building Blaze, right? Like literal global awards, literally like creating products on the continent of Africa that nobody's ever seen before, like thousands, like, but I'm a digital nomad, bro. Like since February 2021, I've spent a total of 2 weeks in the States, 14 days. This entire time, I've been wherever in the world I wanted to be, literally, right? And so, and this is why I'm realizing I need to unpack what I mean when I say safe spaces over everything. Like, there are places that are so dangerous for Black folk, but we don't have to wake up there every day. There are school systems that are so dangerous for Black folk, but that does not mean it's better than homeschooling kids and teaching them their history for real, right? Like there are jobs, right, that feel so suffocating for Black folk, but it does not mean that job is by any means better than a job you can have as an artist, as a creator, as a content developer. Like we have so much freedom to choose than we realize, right? When Blaze did our first WFA immersion week, work from anywhere, and I say abroad, right? Where literally brought founders on the continent for the first time ever to really simulate what life could be like. When I say they were shook at how easy it was to completely transform their environments and feel the best they've ever felt in their lives, right? And so we don't always realize how easy it is to tap into environments that don't feel as dangerous as and really aren't as dangerous as they are, right? But what I hope people take from this conversation, I mean, down to, the freedom your kids have in their living rooms, like we're talking about, to the no's you say in your business because it does not align, to being anywhere in the world you want you and your family to be. Like, we have so much agency to make that decision because we don't have to be stuck in these situations.
I love that. My big dream is to world school my kids. And we throw them in the plane. We just hop around to different countries, world schooling. That's what my vision is. If I can get to the point where I can world school my kids. I think it's beautiful. I don't want to be, I understand how the burden of America, how all the trials and tribulations I have come to believe. I don't want to teach my kids that same stuff. So I'm trying to unlearn it constantly. So I don't try to embed that in them. For example, I was raised when I was younger, I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to make good money. I want to have this freedom. I saw this kind of step ladder. I need to make this much money, get this job, work in this corporate America, do this thing. Blah, blah, blah. So I was kind of on that path to do that thing. I don't want my boys to absorb that. I don't want them to think I need to do something to make money, to pay my bills, to make things happen. So it doesn't matter what makes me happy, that ain't making me no money. So I can't do that. So I want to find a way to teach my boys, dream with your heart. What do you want to do? What makes you happy? You love playing with trucks and cars? Let's play with trucks and cars. Like I want to try to guide them to explore the world in a way. And while I'm guiding them, I'm guiding myself right with them. So we're all exploring the world in a way that we enjoy it and not chasing the dollar bill.
Period. Right. And I think that, the technology that we have today, and that the generations to come will have, it has changed the game for what can be, right? Like, it literally does not matter where you live now in the world. If you have a website that is running, literally, right? Exactly. Anybody around the world can consume your stuff. Anybody that's aligned to your passion will pay dollars, right? Without having to give you cash and buy raffle tickets from the trunk. The world has changed, right? And then when Web3 becomes mature, right now I'm happy to be one of those builders. Like, we're still building what it looks like, but literally in Web3, you will stand beside somebody in China and close business deals while listening to music. There are no bounds. There are no bounds. So I love that. I love that we're having this conversation right now, Doc, because I think it's going to plant important seeds, not just in the founders that are listening, right? But like in the way they train their kids and teach their kids, because ain't no limits, dog.
Yes, none. Like at the end of the day, the only boundary that exists is the one in your head. That's it. Whatever you want, it will happen. I'm trying to think that The Secret, that like I think that take the time, read The Secret, go watch The Secret on YouTube. It just talks about there's a secret where whatever you believe is what becomes true, and behave like whatever you think is going to happen is going to happen. And the thing I know that got me a little bit is that I've experienced it before. Okay, I'll tell you, give you an example. I experienced the power of The Secret. I was, I'm trying to think when this started. I had just got divorced. I was divorced, and we were selling our house and doing all that stuff. And I said, oh my God. I said, I want 2 kids. I want a husband that loves me and pours into me and cooks all my food. And I said, and I want 2 boys. I was just over here manifesting what I wanted. I said, and I want a beautiful company. So I'm manifesting all this stuff. All this stuff happened. Because there's that power of when you operate the way you want to operate, all this stuff happens. I hopped on Tinder. I said, I need to find me a man. Let me go swipe. I found my husband that way. That's how I found him. And me and him have so much in common. Like when you manifest what's going to happen, when you believe what's going to happen, you are your only boundary. The only thing that stops you is you. Now, I understand that society operates in a way where it will try to stop you. I get that. For Black folks in society, they will be trying to throw things at you all the time. But I try to structure my life in a way where all that stuff they're throwing, I'm trying to keep it far away from me. I live in a Black community. I live in a Black suburban community with Black folks. So I don't see all that racist stuff thrown at me all the time. So I try to create an environment in this messed up world where I get what I still need to get to push forward what I need to push forward.
That's good. And that's the truth, right? Like we have the ability to structure what we want. This is in large part, right? And I will continue to heal from some things. And at times I'll be able to stay in the US for longer stints, right? But I recognize, right, that I don't even want to be susceptible to the things that trigger me, right? Me being on the continent and surrounded by culture that feels like home is intentional, right? Me hiring people to do things like laundry and clean up and yada, 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 so that I don't have to feel overly stretched in my business, right? Is intentional. Me having a whole gang of Black women that I can lean on and talk to who understand versus the people that are like, girl, why wouldn't you stay in your comfortable, So I think that's good. And Ashe, I'm so happy that you manifested the love that you deserve, sis, and exactly what you wanted. Like, it's funny the parallels I see in our story. Like, November of 2020, I wrote down, I'm divorced too, so hurt, right? I was so broken from that situation, but 4 years later, I was ready to love again, and I wrote down a prayer that all the things I wanted. I'm talking about down to like, I want to travel the world, forests and parking lots with this man. I want to feel like so many things, right? Like very specific detail. And a month later, I met my soul's flame in Zanzibar on a solo trip. And since then, we have been inseparable. Literally around the world, building businesses. He cooked I every day, all the meals, like so much ease and safety and room for me. There's so much, I've never felt this much space in a relationship before, in any type of relationship. There's so much space for me. So Ashe, amen. And I think this is a testament to the women who are listening, who haven't seen these stories before. Well, now you've seen two, and it's real.
And even the divorce was saying no. Take it back.
Yeah.
The emotional work I had to do to get past saying no and leaving a marriage. What people are going to say about me? Oh, you committed to this, you're not doing it, blah, 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 blah. I had to fight through all that. I said, no, it's not serving me. And I wrote a blog about it. I said, he's a fantastic man. He didn't cheat on me. He didn't lie to me. He didn't beat me. He didn't do none of the things that would make it worthy for me to leave. I just wasn't happy. And I'm sorry, I wasn't happy. And that's not, my happiness is paramount. If I'm not happy, it's not meant for me to be here. So I left saying no. I said no. So I said, no, you were not meant for me. But in the beauty of saying no is you say yes to yourself. You say no to something else, but you say yes to yourself.
Reimagining the gravity of no. Ashe. So, I love who you are personally, right? But I love how you carry this authority, right, over to the way you show up in business and in your industry. You definitely raise the standard of what we should expect and how we should move through the world, right? You ensure that your products are ethically sourced, and even more. And I think that's a purposeful way, right, of setting standards for humanity. Though it's not talked about a lot, you really do introduce purpose in everything that you do. So can you please shed light on the things that we should be more conscious of as we choose companies that receive our money, and or business?
Yeah, that's a good question. Of course, the kind of the same answer I said is what's right for me may not be right for you. So you have to figure out what aligns with your personal ethos. Everyone has a different personal ethos. So a couple of things that are important to me. Black-owned businesses are at the top of my list. I try to support Black-owned businesses any way that I can. And Black-owned Airbnbs, Black-owned hotels, Black-owned products. That is a very important part of my ethos. All natural and plant-based is another important part of my ethos. I believe that God gave us plants and gave us everything we need to survive. I think when humans get involved in stuff and they start mixing and maxing and throwing all these chemicals in it, stuff can get it'll make you sick, it'll kill you. And so I want to get things as natural to the ground as possible. So another part of my ethos is that I want plants. I want a garden. I want to make sure I can go out and see my kale growing up and go eat my kale. That's important to me. So knowing what's important to you will help you know how you want to interact with the world. So knowing that's important to me, I love farmers markets. I love going to see who's growing my food, who's getting it, where I'm doing it from. Now I have a little bit of land in the back. We have a little mini garden back there where we're growing our own thing because that's important to me. And I don't want to consume all this crazy stuff that was made in the lab. That's not a part of what I want to do. I want to eat natural. And so that's also something else that's important to me. So outlining what matters to you, small is also something that matters to me. If I can't find a Black-owned business, I want it to be a small-owned business. So a large corporation don't feel good to me. Big, large corporations in general just don't feel good to me. So I try to support them small as I can. So just outlining what matters to you, and then trying to spend your money in places that align with that. So when you look around my house and you look around the things I buy, you look at what I'm investing in, it seems like it's in line with what I believe in. If my house seems like a disconnect with what I'm talking about, then something is not in alignment there. And I want to make sure I'm in alignment with everything I'm purchasing. Even my clothes, I go and buy my clothes from the secondhand store because if people have already used them, I can just reuse them. So even to me, that's a way for me to invest back in and be natural and be sustainable. I don't have to get all stuff all brand new, all new. Like I can go get something really cute. I got some really cute pants from a secondhand store. I just got them tailored. The things are popping. So just looking and trying to align my actions with my beliefs. But the first step is, what do you believe? And I have been surprised and shocked at people who typically do not know that. They don't know what's important to them. They don't know what they believe in because they have been living in a world where other folks around them, their parents or their friends or society has shaped their beliefs in a way that they haven't shaped their own. So I think that's the first step, is know what matters. Go spend time alone. When you're just alone, sitting in your car or alone in yoga mat, just think about what feeds you.
I just want us all to pause for a beat on this, right? And absorb this and listen to all of the things that our bodies are saying to us right now, right? Dr. Kristian's done a beautiful job of affirming us to ask. She asks over and over and over again throughout these examples, what do you believe in? What feels good to you, right? Do you know what feels good to you? And she gave several examples of how she spends her seconds of her day, like leaning into the things, right, that reflect her beliefs. So I want us to slow down, right, and think about this right now. Feel it. And whatever is coming up, don't push it down. Yes, you have the authority to say yes to those things, and you have the authority to say no to the things that aren't in alignment. That's so good. Even for myself, like I'm having to pause right now and acknowledge all of the things that were coming up as you spoke life into me, right? And to consciously say yes to doing those things and adopting those behaviors.
Yes.
So good. Thank you so much for that response, Ashe. So, honing on your brand, Black and Green, it is truly a phenomenal brand that is powered by all Black women brands. I love that. From your ethics to your aesthetic to your messaging, you are setting a new precedent for our ability to access non-toxic Black products for our bodies and our homes. Dr. Kristian, how does it feel to have made it this far while being so anchored, right, in the sound principles and deep impact that you care so much about?
Oh gosh, how does it feel? To be totally honest, it feels up and down because I have good days and I have bad days. I have days when my cells are amazing and I have days when my cells are low. And I feel my emotions coming up. And I ask myself, why, Kristen? Why are your cells being low making you make a reaction to that? Is your cells the reason why you started your business? I say, no, that's not why you started. You started to support Black women. So why does that matter? That's okay. The reason why that matters is I'm wondering, do they still need this? And so I'm looking at my cells as a reflection of need. Because in my brain, if they need this, the cells will come through. Because at the end of the day, Black and Green does not have a single investor. Black and Green purchases all our products from Black women, own brands, and we sell them. The only way we stay open is if Black women are purchasing products from Black and Green. And so I said, okay, that's the reason why you're getting nervous, is because you're worried that if your sales start to drop, that you might be pushed to close the door. And that is what makes you frightful. I said, okay, so that's where the fear comes from. So I did not start Black and Green to make money. I don't need to make money. I was talking to my accountant the other day. I said, if we broke even, if my expenses and my income were even zero, I would be happy. I said, that's all I want. I wanted to be even. And she's like, girl, you can make a little bit of money. It's like, why can't Black women make money? I said, Black women can make money, but in my brain, I don't want Black women to give me their money. I said, there's big corporations out here, let them give me their money. But I don't want to take all the money from Black folks. I need to work through that some more. But right now, my brain is not being pushed on trying to get the money from them. I said, yeah, I need the money, but not from my audience. So I'm trying to work that through with her. At the end of the day, I just want us to break even. When I feel like we aren't breaking even, that's when my nervousness comes up, that I'm worried that we will be able to keep the doors open if women don't believe enough in my mission to purchase for Black and Green. When Black Green started in 2017, a lot has changed. Since then, 15% pledge, where a lot of marketplaces have made a commitment to put Black products on their shelves. And so you can walk into the Walmarts and Targets of the world and buy Black-owned products. Back when I started Black and Green, you couldn't do that. And I have seen my sales drop. I don't know if it's because of that, but I just have seen my sales drop. And so I need to find intentional customers who will continue to support Black and Green, even though honestly, we're a little bit harder. If you need a shampoo, you can just run up to Target and get it. It's easier probably just run up and get it. But if you're buying where we can ship it to you, then we got you then. We got you. So I need an intentional buyer who can wait a couple of days to get something shipped to her, to still invest in Black and Green, and knowing by her investing, her shopping with us is going to help me keep the doors open at the end of the day.
Ashe, and heard you loud and clear. I see the comments going off. Everybody has heard you, and I want to speak into her right now. I want to speak into that woman, even that little girl on the inside of you that may be a little fretful of a lot of things, right? Things shutting down, maybe fretful of what growth looks like, right? Maybe fretful of what it would mean if the world knows your name. And I want to tell you that you are so worthy of overflow, and it is coming. You are so worthy of the world knowing your name, and it is coming. You are needed. People are yearning for you. You are who they are waiting for. Your name, your brand, your style, your aesthetic, your stamp of approval, right? And keep going. This is nowhere near the ceiling. Corporations are going to look to you to get to us, period. Yep. That is going to happen. So Ashe, and thank you for being so vulnerable with that answer. It's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's truly an honor to slow down and hold space in such an intimate conversation, or an organic conversation with you, Dr. Kristian. You are truly carving out a much needed space in the market for Black women and our families. As we wind this down, right, I want to know, what are the things that we can do collectively to show up for you and your business?
I love that question. I always tell people there are a lot of ways to support small and owned brands. The first one is, of course, buy their products. But after you buy their product, leave a review. That's so powerful. I was just talking to Yelp. That Yelp is saying a big issue that they have is their people are looking for Black-owned products. They're looking for Black-owned vendors, but Black-owned vendors and Black-owned products tend to not have reviews. And unfortunately, people pick product and pick places to go based off of reviews. So I wanted to leave a review. When you have a very positive experience with something, leave a review. I think that my experience has been, we only leave reviews when we have a negative experience, and that pushes us to leave a review. I wanted to change that and leave reviews. We have positive experiences, because by us doing that, we're investing in that brand to be able to go and to thrive, because we now left them a very positive review and attach a video and attach a picture depending on what your background is. So leaving reviews is very, very important. A new project I'm working on with Black and Green is I've been trying to sell directly to consumers since 2017. A new project I'm working on, I'm actually very excited about, is partnering with people who are planning retreats, so retreat planners or corporations or small businesses that are doing holiday gift boxes. And now I found out a lot of companies are doing employee gifting, where I guess employees are trying to keep their people from leaving and starting their own company. So now they're trying to invest more into the employees, which I just learned about this. So a lot of the companies are giving their employees a monthly box of different things. So now I'm working with these corporations who are putting together monthly boxes. Now I'm putting together monthly boxes of Black and Green products to send to their employees. I'm very excited about that. And so if I can get more connections with, when you are running a business, or connections of people running a business, that I can help me work with them to kind of curate a box for them to give to their employees, or any kind of gifting you want to give to your staff, you want to give to your businesses, you want to give to your clients. I had a client I'm working with now. She said, I want to send a box for the holidays to my top 5 clients. And so she went through my my website, picked out products that she thought she would like. I'm putting those boxes together. I'm going to ship them right to her clients. So these kind of ideas, I think, is going to push Black and Green forward. Although I may not get the same sales on every day, now I can make these kind of partnerships with brands, because the beauty of Black and Green is I have a variety of products. You can get a candle, you can get a shampoo, you can get a tea, you can get a body bath. Most places you cannot do that. So I am giving you the space to pick a variety of goods to put in a box for the holidays.
I love that. And I would love to partner with you. Please put my name on the list for boxes. I'm sending boxes to my top clients, right, on the consulting side, and anybody that refers those clients to me. So we're literally in the process of shopping for those. So we'll be working with you. We have international retreats where I heavily gift the founders that come. And so I'm going to reroute that business to you as well. And I'm excited about everything else that will come. So yeah, y'all follow suit. This is incredible. I love these thoughts. I love these ideas. And yeah, it should start with us. So thank you for telling us how we can show up for you.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I value that a lot. Thank you for asking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we are truly, I mean this, we are truly locked in with you, Dr. Kristian. Thank you so much. So before we wrap, please tell everyone how they can find your business, how we can all stay abreast of the incredible things you're doing in the world, and anything else you want to leave us with.
Absolutely. So my business website is www.blkgrn.com. All my handles and all the social medias is BLK and GRN. So you can find us on everything. Instagram, Facebook. I'm on the fence if I'm going to stay on Twitter or not. We'll see. Yeah. We might be pulling our Twitter down. I have not made a decision yet, but Twitter might be gone soon. We on Pinterest, we on YouTube. So you can find us in all those places. And our website is www.blkgrn.com.
All right, ladies. So that was a fireside chat with Dr. Kristian Edwards. There were a whole lot of ideas in the chat about how we can support her. And so I'm just going to ask the usher, okay, Yvonne, and you can delegate to somebody else if you want to. Yvonne, I would ask that you start a blank Google sheet, okay, that you make shareable, openable by anybody, and drop it in the feed, so that all of these ideas that we all have about ways that she can expand her business. I saw a lot of things, subscription boxes, I saw targeting artists and all of these things, right? Please do drop a link to a Google Sheet, and Yvonne's going to drop that in the feed, and you all just add your ideas, Yvonne, if you want, or please do drop, put in a name and an email address column too, so that if Dr. Kristian wants to reach out to anybody to follow up on anything, that she can. But I definitely want to pass along all of these ideas from the tribe to her. I will say that I'm so happy she told us what she needs, and Blaze was already planning to buy holiday gift baskets from other people, right? From companies that I'm sure aren't Black owned. Anyway, because it's just a beautiful thing to do for a lot of the people that show up for us. And because she said what she needed, she got our coins instead. Okay. And we've never been able to give stuff that was full of stuff from Black women entrepreneurs. So it's really, really dope. So for those of you who are consultants, so Blaze has a consulting arm. We have a couple of huge clients, right? We were able to leverage her for those gifts. Okay. So that's an idea for you all that actually schmooze people, right? And gift them. Definitely lean into her. All right. So, and if you're interested in doing something like that, put that on the Google Sheet as well. We are going into our next session, which is, okay, it is Activism is Calling. It is a workshop. Have your pens and your paper. Shawty that's coming up. Her name is Marcasa from Milwaukee. Honey is not the same out there in Milwaukee. So we are learning from a real, I want to call her a street fighter. She's super dope and super about it. Okay. So if you have ever thought about activism, show up here. Okay. And then after that session, because we are winding down the day, we get the preacher coming back. Anika is coming back with a Blaze talk by the name of Cozy, might I suggest, ... And then we're on the second half of the day, okay? And then we're going to have Nefertiri give us our journal wind down for today. And I hope you all are feeling gradually higher. That was always the intent, because we're putting burdens down, right? Nobody said it was going to be easy, but the only way through it is through it. Y'all have continued to show up, and you're actually getting through it, not crawling on top of it, not squeezing to the side, not crawling under it, but y'all are going through it, and you have trusted the process, right? And today, every day, I hope that you feel this is lighter, it's easier, okay? So today, this is Neff's last journal winding down. Because y'all gonna be okay for the next 2 days. I promise you. That's how this process is, okay? This is her last journal wind down with us, okay? And it's gonna be called chakra alignment, okay? All right, so let's head over to the workshop session. Activism is calling with our girl Mikasa. See you on the other side.